He's going to be with me for the first hour. He's over in Spain, but he's being beamed in from sunny Espanyol. He is a fellow talk presenter and political commentator, Russell Quirk. Thank you for interrupting your sunshine holiday, Russell.
Well, thank you. Always a pleasure, mate. Not very sunny now, I'm afraid. As you can see, it's as dark here as it is there. But it has been sunny today and cold, I'm afraid. So I'd love to gloat and say that it's tropical, but it's cold here like it is there.
Well, if you've got sunshine, you're doing better than we are. Now, listen, this just broke about half an hour again. I can barely believe my eyes, barely believe what I'm reading here, but I know you all have strong opinions on this. The worst mayor that any city could ever have, a man who has done his level best over the past few years through two terrible terms to ruin this great city. Sadiq Khan has today, just now, been made a Knight of the Realm by that other undeserved Knight of the Realm, Sir Keir Starmer. Arise, Sir Sadiq Khan. Can you believe it, Russell?
I genuinely can't. When I first saw this on X earlier on, Kev, I thought, no, someone is just having a bit of a laugh here because they know that it would troll anyone of a sensible, common sense disposition. Now, the honours system, as we all know, when it was first kind of founded many, many years ago, was all about honouring and rewarding and recognising people that genuinely do good things for community and society. And actually, in my book, I don't think politicians and civil servants should ever get honours, regardless of whether they're as useless as Sadiq Khan or whether it's Margaret Thatcher or Winston Churchill, frankly, because I think the honours system should be about ordinary people being recognised for things that they do by way of charity, community and so on. But the real salt in the wound here is that, look, Sadiq Khan, by any measure, is totally and utterly hopeless. He is an incompetent mayor. And when you scratch your head, and I genuinely have done this over the last half an hour or so when this news first broke on Talk, I've scratched my head, Kev, thinking, OK, let's be objective. Is there anything at all that Sadiq Khan has done in his 9-year tenure that is worthy of something so remarkable in terms of that achievement being so incredible that he could be worthy of one of the highest honours in the land? Now, I can't think of anything. I don't know if you or anybody that is listening to this or watching this can. I mean, if you can genuinely think of anything that justifies this honour for Sadiq Khan, please let us know. This is a man that has presided over a housing crisis, bankrupting TfL twice. The most outrageous taxation on motorists that we've ever seen by way of ULEZ and the ULEZ expansion. He has lied to the electorate, particularly over things like pay per mile and goodness knows what else. He is an utter joke of a politician. And for Keir Starmer now to further cement his lack of judgment by giving this pygmy politician idiot such a huge accolade. I mean, it's beyond the pale, Kev. It really is. Yeah.
And I mean, as an aside, what the hell are these socialists doing, giving each other honours? They're supposed to be against the titles of privilege, the elite honouring each other. They're supposed to be against this sort of thing. I think there's two things to say about this. Keir Starmer is gaslighting the nation. I think he does know that people like you and I and millions of Londoners will be infuriated by that. And what he's essentially saying is, yeah, all you right-wingers, we're socialists and you can do one. There's nothing you can do about it. We've got the helm and we're in charge. So he's ramming it down our throats. And secondly, I'd like to hear from Londoners or everybody generally about this outrage. But I'd particularly like to hear from the bereaved victims of all the people who have been knifed, stabbed to death under this hopeless mayor's pathetic regime in which violence on the streets has become an epidemic. Women are not safe on the streets. Come to think of it, none of the rest of us are either. This is what he has presided over while spewing out a load of claptrap about clean air. If we wanted clean air, you little idiot, we wouldn't live in the city. This is not a priority for London. What is a priority is for this city to be safe and also for this city to be able to function economically so that vehicles can drive around it, as opposed to what you've done to it, turned it into a no-go area for cars and, probably more importantly, in terms of commerce, commercial vehicles. It's a disgrace. What on earth is Starmer thinking about? The other thing to mention here, though, well, we know what he's thinking about. It's like pat on the back for his fellow Marxist, isn't it? But here's another thing, proving just what an incompetent idiot Starmer is. He shouldn't have done this today, because all of a sudden, we'll talk about his 6 milestones in a minute, all of a sudden his big keynote speech, the reset speech this morning, which was a relaunch after 150 disastrous days at the helm as Prime Minister, suddenly he's overshadowed it. By tomorrow, no one will be talking about it. I mean, he's just useless.
Well, Kev, maybe that was the whole idea.
Yeah, the speech was so useless. He's deliberately overshadowing it. I probably spoke too soon.
I think his advisors have said, yeah, OK, that went down like a damp squib, lead balloons and any other analogy you can think of. I'll tell you what we need to do is announce something that's even more controversial, just to take the heat off the fact that you've tried to emergency reset, as I think Kemi Badenoch aptly called it today, and no one is convinced it was received in the pathetic nature that it should have been. But to your point, Kev, with regard to kind of those on the left, the far left, really, these Marxists, they spend their entire junior political years at Oxford and Cambridge in their left-wing political debating societies, banging on about how terrible the House of Lords is and the honour system. When was the last time one of them turned down an honour? I mean, the House of Lords is packed full of lefties. That on the one hand have said, oh no, we don't like the elitism, but as soon as someone says to them as a Prime Minister in the Queen's birthday list or the New Year's honours list, oh hey, do you fancy being a peer? Yeah. Straight away.
They love it, don't they? They love it. Yeah, the left-wing Labour MPs and politicians, they love nothing more than being elevated into the upper chamber as Lord Fauntleroy of Burnley or something. And also, they love their little knighthoods, like Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer, of course, got his because he was the useless Director of Public Prosecutions. Keeps boasting, when I was DPP, I did this. When I was in charge of the Crown Prosecution Service, I did this. He was useless. He was useless. Ask all the journalists he tried to send to prison for doing their jobs, particularly on the Sun newspaper. I think it was like 28 of them. He said he got them all into court. All they were doing was their job. They were getting information from people who work for the government. He tried to send them to prison, spent millions, tens of millions of the public purse trying to convict hard-working journalists just doing their jobs. Guess what? Every single one of them was acquitted. Every single one of them. So don't you tell me, I know you're not telling me, but don't anyone tell me Keir Starmer was a good DPP. He was hopeless, but in fairness to him, he's an even worse Prime Minister.
Yeah, no, he is, and who would have thought? But look, Kev, the same applies. If anyone can put their finger on anything above and beyond that Keir Starmer did as DPP, or indeed that Sadiq Khan has done as London Mayor, that's worthy of one of the highest honours in the land, let us know. 0344 499 1000, right?
Thank you very much. Still a presenter at heart. Let's quickly talk about his 6 milestones. I think he's already had, 5 missions? Didn't he have 3 pledges, pillars? This new set of promises, I suppose, although he's refusing to call them pledges. He's called milestones, and he made this kind of robot-like speech in a film studio today. Went down, as you said already, Russell, like a cup of cold sick. But here they are. He's committed to the following. Now, think about this, these are 6 milestones, missions that he thinks will resonate with every man, woman and child in this country. We'll go, oh, yeah, he's really hit the nail on the head here. This is what he thinks we as a nation, all the people of Britain are sitting around worrying about. Right, ready? Raising living standards. OK, fine. But that is a stupid milestone to announce because, let me tell you, this is the way human beings are. If you say, he's essentially saying in a year's time, or by the time it's the next election, you'll be better off. Well, if you gave every person in this country £1 million today, tomorrow they would say, I'm not better off. That's human nature. So that's a stupid pledge, very, very vague as well. Lowering NHS waiting lists. Well, yeah, sure, decent pledge. You better do it. You won't, because you're Labour, and Wes Streeting will just be the latest health secretary who fails to reform that out-of-control behemoth we call our National Health Service, which pays 3,500 non-doctors more than £100,000 a year, wastes 800, has got 800 diversity officers for 40 million a year. It is a basket case, so that won't work. On to the next milestone, Russell. Building 1.5 million new homes. I think that's considerably less than what they promised in their build-up to the election, and I bet they don't manage to do it. It's not a bad idea, but the proof will be in the pudding. So we'll allow him the 1.5 million new homes. Putting more bobbies on the beat so that each neighbourhood can contact the local named copper. I mean, it's all right, but I'm not sure that that actually cuts to the heart of what people feel about law and order in this country. What the problem with law and order in this country is there isn't any. We don't feel safe on our streets. We want a lot more than a local bobby going evening all, walking a lot around the streets. It's not a bad idea, but it's nothing, is it?
Kev, honestly, this is Keir Starmer's fantasy island politics. None of this will be achieved. And I'm happy to bet, and I know it's a long time off, but by the time this Parliament finishes in 2029, if Keir Starmer has met these targets, I'll donate 500 quid to Great Ormond.
Yeah.
Straight away, with pleasure, because he's not going to achieve any of them.
No, exactly. Well, let's look at this one. This one defies belief. Ensuring children are prepared to start school. I've written here in brackets, whatever that means. But I think it means, that too many kids, don't know how to brush their teeth or put their trousers on or whatever. So it's ensuring children are prepared to start school. Well, as an ambition for a government, that is setting the bar low, isn't it? Oh, we're going to make sure kids know how to clean their teeth. And how do you do that anyway? These are kids living within their family homes. How does the government prepare them to learn how to clean their teeth or whatever? I don't see how they go about this. And finally, and let me tell you, no one in this country is wasting too much time or losing too much sleep over the next one. Decarbonising the British power grid. No, but look, people are sick of this net zero claptrap. All it's doing is making us colder and poorer. He thinks we're deeply concerned about this. Absolute rubbish.
It is rubbish. But look, Kev, all of these things have been previously announced, right? So this was all kind of in his manifesto. We've heard it all before. The reason he is stood on his feet today to remind us all and to gaslight us all, frankly, as to what he intends to do over the next 4 or 5 years is to try and obfuscate away from the fact that he has had the most disastrous start in 5 years, in 5 months of any prime minister in any memory, in any history at all. So he is trying to reset the clock. It is an emergency reset. And actually, there was a thing over the house building targets. When he said today in his speech, Kev, he said, I think that the 1.5 million target is ambitious. You could say too ambitious, he said. Then he said, many of you will agree that it's too ambitious. And he was smiling as he said it. Now, I was watching that today thinking, you're trolling us.
Yeah. What's the translation of that? Translation of that, Russell, is...
He's mocking.
Yeah, the translation of it, of many of you will agree this is a difficult target, is many of you will agree this is total claptrap.